Let me paint you a picture that happens in thousands of homes every single summer. It is 2 in the afternoon. The temperature outside has climbed past 90 degrees. You are inside with the air conditioning running. You feel completely fine. Maybe a little warm, but fine. And then you look over at your dog. They are lying on the tile floor near the back door. Their mouth is open. Their tongue is hanging out so far it looks almost cartoonish. They are breathing faster than feels normal. Every single exhale sounds wet and heavy and labored. Their eyes are half closed and glassy. You think to yourself, they are probably just tired. Dogs pant. That is just what dogs do. So you go back to whatever you were doing. You answer a few emails. You make a sandwich. You watch half an episode of something. And 45 minutes later you walk back through the room and your dog has not moved a single inch. Except now the panting is louder. And when you crouch down next to them and press your palm flat against their side, what you feel stops you completely. Their body is generating heat like a furnace. Not warm. Not a little hot. Radiating. And suddenly the sandwich you just made feels very far away because you are doing the math in your head and the math is telling you something you do not want to hear. Your dog has been dangerously overheating. Inside your air-conditioned home. While you were sitting 15 feet away. That moment of realization, that cold spike of fear and guilt that hits you when you understand that the danger was invisible and silent and happening right next to you the entire time, that moment is exactly why I need to have this conversation with you today. Because the myth that air conditioning protects your dog completely from heat-related illness is one of the most dangerous assumptions in pet ownership. And it costs dogs their lives every single summer. Please take a slow breath right now and hear me clearly. If your dog is showing signs of extreme heat distress right now, wet their paws in the back of their neck with cool, not cold, water immediately and call your veterinarian. Do not wait and watch. For everyone else, what I am about to teach you is going to fundamentally change how you think about your dog's safety on every hot day from this point forward. Hi everyone. I am Dr. James Whitfield, and this is Paw Secrets Lab. I have spent the last 14 years practicing emergency and critical care veterinary medicine, which means I am the doctor that dogs are rushed to when something has already gone wrong. I have treated heat stroke cases that came from backyards, from parked cars, from afternoon walks. And I have treated heat illness cases that came from inside the home. That last category is the one nobody talks about. And it is the one that devastates owners the most. Because they thought they were being responsible. They thought being indoors meant being safe. Today I am going to show you exactly why that assumption fails and precisely what to do instead. In Chapter 1, I will explain the canine thermoregulation system and why your dog's body handles heat in a way that makes indoor environments far more dangerous than most people realize. In Chapter 2, I will reveal the 5 indoor heat traps that exist in almost every home, and that most dog owners walk past every single day without recognizing the danger. In Chapter 3, I will give you the indoor cooling protocol, the specific, completely free or low-cost interventions that drop your dog's core temperature environment by a measurable margin and keep it there throughout the hottest part of the day. And in Chapter 4, I will walk you through the heat illness recognition and response timeline, the exact symptoms and the exact sequence that tell you when this has crossed from discomfort into a medical emergency requiring immediate action. Subscribe to Paw Secrets Lab right now to join our community of educated, empowered pet parents. What you are about to learn today could genuinely save your dog's life this summer. So let us get into it immediately. To protect your dog from indoor heat, you need to understand one fundamental biological truth that changes everything. Your dog cannot cool themselves the way you can. This is not a small difference. This is not a minor physiological variation. This is a profound, life-altering biological distinction that makes your dog categorically more vulnerable to heat than any human being in the same room under the same conditions. Here is what is actually happening in their body. Humans are what thermoregulation scientists call whole-body sweaters. We have eccrine sweat glands distributed across virtually every square inch of our skin surface. When our core temperature rises, these glands activate simultaneously across the entire body surface. Moisture evaporates from the skin. Evaporation requires energy. That energy is drawn directly from body heat. The result is rapid, efficient, continuous cooling across an enormous surface area. This system is so effective that a human being can maintain thermal equilibrium in temperatures that would kill most mammals. Your dog has none of this. Dogs possess functional sweat glands only in the epithelium of their paw pads. Small, limited, and located at the very extremities of the body, as far from the vital core organs as anatomically possible. The contribution these glands make to overall thermoregulation is minimal at best. Your dog's primary, and essentially only, cooling mechanism is panting. When a dog pants, they move air rapidly across the wet surface of the tongue and the moist lining of the upper respiratory tract. As that air moves across the moisture, evaporative cooling occurs. The cooled venous blood in the tongue and nasal passages returns toward the brain and the core, theoretically bringing the core temperature down. The word theoretically is doing significant work in that sentence. Because panting as a cooling system has 3 critical failure points that you must understand. Failure point 1. Humidity. Evaporative cooling requires that the air being moved across the wet surface is capable of absorbing additional moisture. When ambient humidity is high, the air is already saturated. It cannot absorb the evaporating moisture from your dog's tongue efficiently. The cooling effect drops dramatically. Your dog pants harder. They generate more internal body heat from the muscular effort of panting. Their temperature continues to rise. They pant even harder. The cycle accelerates. This is why a 90-degree day with 80% humidity is exponentially more dangerous than a 95-degree day with 30% humidity. And why your air-conditioned home with poor air circulation can become a humidity trap that defeats your dog's only cooling system entirely. Failure point 2. Breed anatomy. Brachycephalic breeds, dogs with shortened, compressed facial structures, including bulldogs, French bulldogs, pugs, Boston Terriers, boxers, Shih Tzus, and Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, have a fundamentally compromised panting mechanism. The anatomical structures that enable efficient evaporative cooling through panting, the long nasal passages, the wide trachea, the unobstructed airway, are all reduced or distorted in brachycephalic anatomy. These dogs are physically incapable of moving sufficient air volume to cool themselves effectively through panting even when healthy. In hot conditions, these breeds enter heat distress at temperatures that would barely register as warm for a Labrador. If you have a flat-faced breed, every single recommendation in this video applies to your dog first, most urgently, and without exception. Failure point 3. The thermal inertia problem. Dogs have a higher baseline core body temperature than humans. Normal canine body temperature ranges from 100 to 102.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Compare this to the human normal of 98.6. This means your dog starts closer to the danger threshold to begin with. The clinical definition of heat stroke in dogs begins at 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Irreversible organ damage, specifically to the kidneys, liver, brain, and gastrointestinal lining, begins at 106 degrees and can occur within minutes at 107. The margin between comfortable and catastrophic in a dog is measured in single digits of temperature change. And that margin can be crossed inside your home. Now that you understand why your dog is so vulnerable, I need to show you exactly where the danger is hiding in your home right now. These are what I call the 5 indoor heat traps. And at least 2 of them exist in virtually every house or apartment in the country. Indoor heat trap 1. The sun corridor. Every home has them. These are the pathways that direct sunlight travels through your home during the peak heat hours of 11 in the morning through 4 in the afternoon. A patch of floor that receives direct sunlight through a window or glass door can reach surface temperatures of 130 degrees or higher even when the ambient air temperature in the room feels comfortable to you. Your dog, who seeks warmth instinctively and gravitates towards sunny patches as resting spots, will lie directly on this surface. Their body absorbs radiant heat from below while direct sunlight heats them from above. Walk through your home right now and identify every patch of floor that receives direct sunlight during afternoon hours. These patches need to be blocked with curtains or window film during peak heat hours. Your dog should never have resting access to these zones on hot days. Indoor heat trap 2. The dead air room. Air conditioning systems cool the air they circulate. The word circulate is critical here. A room with a closed door, no ceiling fan, and a single floor-level air conditioning vent will develop thermal stratification. Cold air is dense and sinks. It pools at floor level near the vent. But the upper portion of the room, from approximately 3 feet off the ground upward, collects heat because hot air rises and has nowhere to escape. Your dog's body, when lying down, is at floor level. But their head and breathing apparatus, the lungs and airway doing all the cooling work, are elevated. In a dead air room they are pulling in air that is measurably warmer than the air at floor level. Open doors. Use fans to actively circulate air. Never rely on passive air conditioning alone in a closed room. Indoor heat trap 3. The food and water neglect zone. This one is behavioral rather than environmental. And it is entirely preventable. On hot days, your dog's hydration requirement increases significantly. A dog that drinks perfectly adequate water at 68-degree ambient temperature needs substantially more water at 82 degrees in a home where the air conditioning is working imperfectly. Most owners fill the water bowl at their normal time and check it at their normal time. What they do not account for is that on a hot day, that bowl may be empty or critically low for hours in between those checkpoints. And a dog experiencing the early stages of heat stress will reduce voluntary water intake, making the problem dramatically worse. Multiple water sources placed at multiple locations throughout the home. Checked and refilled every 2 hours on hot days. This is not optional. This is a foundational safety requirement. Indoor heat trap 4. The crate microclimate. If your dog spends any portion of hot days in a crate, you need to read this section carefully. A crate, particularly a solid-sided plastic travel crate, creates a contained microclimate. Air circulation inside the crate is dramatically reduced compared to the surrounding room. Even in a room that feels comfortable to you, a closed plastic crate can register internal temperatures 5 to 8 degrees higher than the ambient room temperature. On a day where your home is being maintained at 78 degrees because the air conditioning is struggling, the interior of a plastic crate in that room may be reaching 85 to 86 degrees. Which for a dog with any of the vulnerability factors we discussed, can be dangerous within hours. If your dog must be crated during hot days, use a wire crate with maximum airflow on all sides. Position a fan to direct airflow across the crate opening. Place a cooling mat inside rather than a thick padded bed that retains body heat. And if temperatures are extreme, reconsider crating entirely in favor of a cool, dog-proofed room. Indoor heat trap 5. The exercise timing error. Many owners believe that keeping their dog indoors during heat means they can still exercise them freely inside the home. Fetch in the hallway. Tug games in the living room. Wrestling on the carpet. Exercise generates internal metabolic heat. Significant, rapid, cumulative heat. A dog playing vigorous fetch for 10 minutes in a house that is 76 degrees internally can raise their core body temperature by 1 to 2 degrees from metabolic heat generation alone before the inadequate panting mechanism can compensate. On hot days, indoor exercise must be deliberately moderated. Calm activities. Short, slow walks only during the coolest hours. Mental enrichment games that engage the brain without elevating the heart rate significantly. Save the vigorous play for the cool evening hours when the thermal risk is manageable. Now I give you the exact interventions. These are specific, practical, sequenced steps that together create a measurably cooler and safer indoor environment for your dog throughout the hottest part of any summer day. Cooling Intervention 1. The Morning Thermal Lock. This is the single highest impact thing you can do, and it costs nothing. Before the heat of the day arrives, typically before 9 in the morning, close every window, every curtain, and every blind on the sun-facing sides of your home. You are sealing the cool morning air inside before the sun has the opportunity to begin heating your home's surfaces and air mass. Homes that are thermally locked in the morning maintain cooler interior temperatures for significantly longer into the afternoon than homes that are opened and closed reactively as the day heats up. This one habit alone can keep your home 3 to 5 degrees cooler throughout peak heat hours without any additional energy costs. Cooling Intervention 2. The Cooling Station. Designate one specific area of your home as your dog's official cooling station for hot days. This should be the coolest room in your home, typically an interior room away from sun-facing walls, with the best air circulation. In this station you will place 4 things. First, a wet cooling mat or a damp towel laid flat on a non-slip surface. As your dog lies on it, moisture evaporates from the surface and creates direct skin contact evaporative cooling. Redampen every hour. Second, a fresh water bowl with ice cubes. Ice water stays cooler longer and many dogs drink more readily from cold water, which increases their hydration on days when they most need it. Third, a fan position to move air across the space at dog body level, not ceiling level. Fourth, a frozen enrichment toy. A rubber Kong or similar toy filled with plain low-sodium broth and frozen overnight. This gives your dog something engaging to work on that simultaneously cools them from the inside as they consume it. The mental engagement also reduces restless activity that generates unnecessary metabolic heat. Cooling Intervention 3. The Paw Soak Protocol. Remember that your dog's functional sweat glands are located in their paw pads. You can directly augment their cooling capacity by activating and supporting those glands. Prepare a shallow container, a baking dish or a storage container with low sides, filled with cool water. Not ice water. Cool water. Water that is slightly below room temperature. Guide your dog to stand in this container for 3 to 5 minutes every hour during peak heat periods. The cool water contact on the paw pads draws heat away from the body through direct conduction simultaneously, while the moisture on the pads increases their evaporative cooling capacity. Gently wet the area behind their ears and the underside of their neck with cool water using a damp cloth. These areas have high concentrations of blood vessels close to the skin surface. Cooling the blood in these vessels directly reduces the temperature of blood returning toward the brain and core. Cooling Intervention 4. The airflow engineering. Fans do not create cold air. They move air. Understanding this distinction helps you use them correctly. A fan blowing across your sitting dog creates a wind chill effect that amplifies evaporative cooling from any moisture on their body. This is most effective when you have first used the paw soak or the damp cloth methods described above. For maximum airflow through your home, create a cross-ventilation pathway during the cooler morning and evening hours by opening windows on opposite sides of the home simultaneously. This draws cooler air through the full length of the space. Close everything again before the outdoor temperature rises above your indoor temperature. Cooling Intervention 5. The feeding adjustment. Digestion generates significant metabolic heat. The process of breaking down food requires energy, and that energy produces internal body heat as a byproduct. On extremely hot days, shift your dog's larger meal to the coolest part of the day, typically early morning or late evening. During the peak heat hours, offer only small amounts if they seem interested. Never force feeding on hot days. A dog with reduced appetite in the heat is responding appropriately to their thermal stress, and forcing a full meal creates an unnecessary additional heat load on their system. I need to give you the clinical reality now. Because even with every intervention in place, heat illness can still develop. And the difference between a full recovery and permanent organ damage, or death, is measured in minutes once certain thresholds are crossed. You must know this sequence precisely. Stage 1. Early heat stress. Act now to prevent escalation. Signs: panting heavier than normal for the conditions. Seeking cool surfaces actively. Reduced interest in movement or play. Slightly increased drool production. What this means: your dog's thermoregulation system is working hard but has not been overwhelmed yet. What to do: implement the paw soak immediately. Move them to the coolest room. Offer fresh, cool water. Apply a damp cloth to the back of the neck and inner thighs. Reduce all activity to 0. If you act here, this resolves completely within 15 to 20 minutes. Stage 2. Heat exhaustion. Urgent intervention required. Signs: panting that appears effortful and cannot be interrupted even briefly. Thick, ropey, excessive saliva. Gums that appear bright red or tacky when you touch them. Unsteadiness when standing or walking. Confusion or failure to respond to their name normally. What this means: their cooling system is failing. Core temperature is elevated above safe levels. What to do: wet their entire body with cool water, not cold, not ice. Apply cool wet towels to the groin area, armpits, and neck where blood vessels are accessible. Run a fan directly on them. Call your veterinarian immediately and begin transport. Do not wait to see if they improve on their own. Stage 3. Heat stroke. Emergency. Every minute matters. Signs: gums that are pale, gray, or bluish. Vomiting or diarrhea, sometimes with blood. seizure activity, loss of consciousness, or complete collapse. Breathing that is labored, noisy, or irregular. What this means: this is organ-threatening, life-threatening heat stroke. Irreversible damage is occurring right now. What to do: wet their body immediately with cool water. Do not use ice. Do not submerge them in cold water. Ice and cold water cause peripheral vasoconstriction, which traps heat in the core where it is most dangerous. Transport to the nearest emergency veterinary facility immediately while continuing to apply cool water during transport. Call ahead so they are prepared upon your arrival. Do not give them water to drink if they are vomiting or unconscious. Do not assume they are recovering if they seem calmer. The calm that follows extreme heat distress can indicate shock, not improvement. Time is the only variable you can control at this stage. Move immediately. The hardest part of everything I have told you today is this: your dog cannot tell you they are too hot. They will not come to you and place a paw on your knee and communicate that the room feels dangerous. They will lie on the warm floor and pant harder and wait for you to notice. Because that is what they do. They trust you with the part of their safety that they cannot manage themselves. That trust is the entire weight of what I need you to carry out of this video today. The morning thermal lock takes 3 minutes. The cooling station takes 15 minutes to set up once. The paw soak takes 5 minutes every hour. These are not complicated interventions. They are not expensive. They do not require any special equipment beyond what you already have in your home. What they require is awareness. The specific, science-backed awareness that hot days are not safe just because you are indoors. That your dog's body is working in a fundamentally different way than yours. That the danger can be invisible and silent, and sitting right next to you. You now have that awareness. And I want to hear from you. What is the most creative way you have tried to keep your dog cool during summer? Have you discovered something that works brilliantly that I have not mentioned? Tell me in the comments below. Because your experience might be exactly the thing that helps another dog owner get through a dangerous afternoon safely. If this gave you something genuinely useful today, something you are going to do differently tomorrow when the temperature climbs, please tap that like button. It tells YouTube that this kind of honest, research-backed pet safety education belongs in front of every dog owner who needs it before summer gets worse. Subscribe to Paw Secrets Lab so you never miss what we have coming next. Because we go deep on real pet science every single week. I am Dr. James Whitfield. Set up that cooling station today. Check that water bowl in 2 hours. Your dog is counting on you to know what they cannot tell you. And I will see you in the very next one.